Year to end Season 4 is here, so to celebrate, I'm going to be ranking every new change that is notable really, from D tier to S tier. Now if you do enjoy this video, please like and subscribe, go follow on Twitch, Twitter and TikTok on the description of this video. Without wasting any time, let's jump into it. Now starting off is the worst change on this list. It's going to be Castle getting his barricades electrified. Now, you can electrify his castles if you didn't know, which on paper doesn't sound that bad. You know, the fact that you can now stick a bandit or a K-claw on a castle barricade, pretty nice. It's a good change, it's a good buff if you will. But the bad part about it, I just don't see any practical use out of this, because you're putting so much utility, and also not only that, important utility into something like a castle barricade, which isn't really that important a lot of the time. My immediate thought when I seen this was, oh, that makes bandit tricking on Clubhouse inside of CCTV, you know, a lot easier, because you can stick a castle on the wall and then a bandit battery on it whilst you're bandit tricking the main wall, and you'd be good. But then I thought about it for a second. Yeah, cool, it zaps ashes now, which is a nerf to ash, but just run Zofia or frag grenades or sledge and you're fine, you know? It doesn't really change much in the like whole grand scheme of things. And also you can punch it, you don't take damage anymore. I don't really see many scenarios where this could be that useful, apart from the fact that, I mean, with the ash nerf now that like electrification destroys ash charges, mirrors that are electrified, I don't know if you can break them. I don't know if it electrifies the mirror or not, so we'll see how that goes. But ultimately, I think the change for Castle, it's not really going to change much. With that, move on to C tier. Now C tier now, Mute. The Mute changes are very interesting. He's 2-2 now, which overall is a buff because you have a lot of utility you need to prep in the prep phase. So giving yourself more speed with that can make it a lot easier to do. But end of the day, you're down HP, so it's going to be harder to play those anchor spots and stay alive. And ultimately as well, we've now added some D-sec system, which is very interesting. Basically, how I understand it is that now, if it's a manual detonation, you can't do it if it's in range of a mute jammer or you're in range of a mute jammer. But overall, I think it's just like a nerf in the right ways, but it isn't really exciting, if you know what I mean. It just means there's a buff for like Ace, Lion, and can openers. But overall, there's a lot more interesting like changes in this update. So since C tier, Mute is still going to be powerful as ever. He still is incredibly good. His mute jammer's got the range doubled on it. I don't know if I said that, but that's incredibly good. But overall, is it really that good now? Yeah, but like it doesn't really change much. You're still going to play Mute. You're still going to play him like you were playing him before. Just maybe not on main walls now when Ace is still available. But for that, we move on to B tier now. Now we're flying through the tier list, I can't lie. And this is where it slows down. The Aruni changes. Now for Aruni's changes, again, they're good for consistency. I'm glad that they changed it now that, you know, Thatcher's got the rework. Basically what happens is, if you EMP and a Runegate, it goes down for the entire duration of an EMP, but then when it reactivates, you need to shoot it to reactivate the laser gate. So overall, you're getting, you know, double for the price of one. But bad thing about it though, is that isn't Aruni's issue. Aruni's issue is her DMR. The DMR and the ACOG is the reason why she's so broken, why she's so picked to the top level, why she is in the state that she is right now. Not because of anything to do at all with her utility that she brings to the table, because overall I think the Renegade on itself without the DMR is probably one of the best pieces of utility in the game, but it's still balanced. But it will be interesting to see if Aruni's pick rate even changes in the slightest off this, but I got a sneaking suspicion that nah, it's not changing at all. But next in the changes, we get into our first hard breach change, Thermite. Now Thermite's been buffed really well to the point where if any other like hard breacher didn't get buffed, this would be insane. 3 hard breach charges on Thermite. That is insane. To put this in perspective, now it's Thermite. If you're attacking cache and CCTV on Clubhouse, you can open up the main wall, and also as well with the Thermite charges, and they're bigger up and down the way. So if you place it at the top of the wall, if for example a mute jammer's on the bottom, you also place it at the top to try, you know, still open up that line of sight. It now goes all the way down, like all the way down to the ground, which is incredible. Speeds up attacking a lot because you don't need to be as precise as you were before. But you can open up the main wall, con wall from exterior, and then the con wall into cache wall. So overall, it's really powerful, because that's the main issue with running a Thermite over an Ace, because an Ace can open up the line of sights onto a main wall, then open up the con wall, and then open up the cache con wall. So now, honestly, from a breaching perspective, Thermite is better than Ace at breaching again, which is good to see. Of course, Thermite getting the pocket shotgun now, the ITA, I'm not too big on it. I don't think the ITA's that good for getting kills. It's good for making your holes in sight and, you know, getting vert down or whatever. Don't get me wrong. But overall, what I like from the secondary shotgun is being able to kill with it. And the bailiff, you can kind of spam. It's like a full auto shotgun basically. And the super shorty is just a one pump and done. And it will usually do a lot more damage to kill, or sorry, to get the down. But the ITA is a bit inconsistent for me personally, so I'm not too fussy about it. I just think, honestly, Thermite, he's still going to be really good. Still having smokes, still having stun grenades. Very good. Very good across the board. The only thing is, with Thermite, I think they should have reworked his recoil. You know, it's one of the few guns in the game which recoil goes the opposite way. So majority of guns in recoil, if you didn't know this, go up and right. The Thermite 5x, whatever it is, goes up and left, which does make it harder to control, like just from a comfortability perspective. But again, it's not a big deal. If you know how to shoot the gun, you know how to shoot the gun. All good. Next up, A tier. Now A tier, I've actually put this on, but I just like completely forgot about it for some reason. The border rework. The border rework. I haven't really played it at all yet, but it needs to be good, and it doesn't look bad. It looks pretty decent. Because the reason why it needs to be really good is because they've shoved it in Pro League and took Skyscraper out. If Skyscraper is one of the most defender-sided maps inside of Pro League, so they did take it out because of that. But if Fortress can like be decent or pretty good and stick about in Pro League, that would be amazing for the game. It's a good sign for the game because it shows they can rework maps and make them good. But ultimately, I ran about it. It looks fine. It looks pretty good. It's still got that core identity of, you know, having a fortress feel to it, but it's not so fortressy to the point where it's like theme park and you can't get in the fucking building half the time. But anyway, we'll see how it falls. That's why it's in B tier, because it could be good, could be bad. We'll see how it pans out, but overall so far, first impressions, could be good. Next, A tier, new DMR. The new DMR is what DMR should be, for the attacking side at least. High mag, good damage, and decent recoil. Not no recoil like the 417. Please, nerf the recoil on that shit. It's good, it's a good gun, it's on good operators. Hibana, Capital, Thatcher. And my only worry is knock, because if I get lurked on by a knock, like if you didn't watch the Mutant Major, Gunner played a lot of knock. And the reason why knock isn't so good is because she's not got an AR. She's got an SMG and a shotgun. Giving her DMR is quite ludicrous, so we'll see how that goes. I give it 2 seasons before they remove it and like give it to somebody else. But having on Capital, Thatcher, and Hibana, really good choices. Like Thatcher was missing a DMR. Hibana, yeah, I agree with it. Capital definitely was missing a DMR. This is going to be like a whole different ball game for Capital now, because now you can bring the Gong 6, the DMR, EMPs, or can openers, and you've got both fire and smoke bolts. So what more do you need with him? But overall, DMR does look pretty good. Does look interesting. I think it's balanced. I think it's what we should aim for all DMRs to be like. Just some giving it a spin in the fan range against some dummies as well, like the new T-Hunt Terrace mode, which by the way, they brought on T-Hunt. T-Hunt is S tier. I didn't put it in, but it's definitely S tier. Like actually, everything, move it down a spot, S+. T-Hunt coming back. More of that. Just bring back old stuff, because there's so much old stuff in the game that removed that's so good for the game. It never made sense to me why it got removed. Next, in A tier, Ace. The Ace rework. Free armor, good. Like, slows them down, puts them into this less fraggy position. You're more of like a drone kind of hard breach now, kind of what Thatcher takes nowadays in current Siege. But you've got 2 flashbangs, so everything you just done is relevant. You can do it all on Ace now. You can open breaches and enter yourself by droning yourself in and then playing off your flashes. Doesn't make much sense to me. I was watching the reveal panel for SI. I was watching R6 Mint, and Kangaroo Kenny was in the call. And Kangaroo Kenny, who's the coach for DZ, after like reading the patch notes, it was actually before they came out, it was the day before and they got leaked. He was reading them and he saw Ace flashbangs, and as a streamer or a content creator, you're not allowed to talk about leaks before they come out, because again, it just ruins the hype. It's not good. Don't do it. If you see it on TikTok, ignore it. It's kind of sad. If you want to go see the leaks, whatever, go on Twitter. Some leaker will go post it himself. But anyway, ignore me. What I'm trying to say, Kangaroo Kenny went absolutely mental reading those patch notes, and genuinely, I don't blame him. Apparently what happened was, around year 7, year 8, they playtested Ace with flashbangs and said, no, we do not want this in the game. Do not bring like this exact change, free armor, flashbangs. Don't bring it to the game. He's already really powerful. This would just make him more powerful. For some reason, the Siege devs think that making somebody a free armor is going to make them worse, which doesn't make sense. It's a change. It's not really a worse thing or like a good thing, unless, for example, they're roamer. I think that's the only change where it's like, okay, yeah, fair, that makes sense. Making, for example, Vigil 2-speed instead of 3-speed, that makes sense. But this should never happen, and I'm surprised it's happened. But then again, I don't know what else you could do to buff Ace if you're going to be buffing all the hard breachers. You could make it so he's 3 panel Ace charges against it 2, but again, that was too powerful in a sense, because now you get into a ranged breach, which is nearly as big as a Thermite breach, so that makes Thermite irrelevant. But now, you've given Thermite flashbangs to make him stand out, and now every other hard breach has flashbangs, so it just doesn't make sense to me in my head. AK-12 with flashbangs is incredible. but I've only put it in A tier just because, honestly, Hibana, Maverick, and the rest of the changes are a lot better and a lot crazier. But overall, I'm a bit worried for this. This could be S tier. Speaking of different heartbeat operators, moving on to Hibana now in A tier. Now, Hibana, new DMR. Ding, 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 ding. Yes, very good. Very good. DMRs, more DMRs, please. Not really though, please don't. But I like DMRs, so yeah, decent. Type 89 recoil buff, yeah, decent. It's got like really so much recoil for no reason. Never really did make much sense to me. Why it had so much recoil, especially the end of the spray. Beginning of the spray was absolutely fine, but the end, it just got a bit like crazy. So you couldn't full spray the mag, but it's only 2 bullets, so you'd end up full spraying the mag anyway. But that X-Kairos rework that they've done, oh my gosh, it's orgasmic. Instead of going, if you didn't know what the change is, instead of going douche, 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 you go douche, 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 douche. Wow. It feels really nice. It feels really nice to play with. I played with it a little bit. Really nice to play. And also the fact as well, swapping between guns, like going from the X-Kairos launcher to your gun, so quick. You can't get caught with your pants down with it now, which I really like to see. I like it when you remove a lot of the clunkiness from the game. And that was one of the clunky things that's been in the game since forever. Like so long such away from that thing. You get killed so many times if you're not careful about it. Now you don't have to be as careful, which is scary. But it's also really, really fucking powerful. Really powerful. So overall, Hibana, A tier. And finally, end off A tier, Maverick. And Maverick is, new torch is incredible, incredible, incredible. So you only need to reload it once, but has the equivalent of 5 charges in it. So it's the exact same. You'll need to like just reload it once though. And it's only got 2 cans for gassing. So you got the first one, and that's it. You get the full same amount of wall done, but they've also reworked how you break the walls, so now you don't need to do a line at the top. They basically tried to remove the whole Hibana tricking and Maverick tricking where you just do a line at the top, line at the bottom, but they've messed with it a bit, so now you only need, you know, a hole in each corner with Maverick. In doing so, of course you can still do the line across all the way top, but I'm just talking about the little line that you see in Pro League where it only goes like 75% each side of one reinforced wall. It's hard to describe, but if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it wouldn't affect you anyway. It's all good. But now, Maverick is going to be really, really powerful. Really powerful. Top is as well, Reaper Mark II, Sanctuary Pistol, Full Auto, Aurora's Pistol, very powerful. It just recently got buffed, but I'll talk about that later. The recoil on it did get buffed previously, and on top of that, it gets frag grenades as well. So Maverick frag grenades is always going to be juicy, because it means as well, if you're not wanting to Maverick trick open a wall, and you just want to like Mav it so you can, your Thermite, your ace can place the charge on the wall, get a little hole, chuck a frag in, job's good, job's done, and that's the wall ready to be breached by Thermite, by ace, or by Hibana. So overall, really good change for Maverick. It gives Maverick that identity where, yeah, he can open the wall, but he's deadly. He is a deadly operator. So you really got to look at for Mavericks, and ultimately, if you don't know how to Maverick trick, please learn, because this is the season. There's no better time than now. There's no excuses. Finally, we move on to S tier. Now, S tier, I want to talk about the new changes to the UI. The UI, you can now change the colors of your team or the enemy team to any color that's available. So I think they've added now yellow and purple, but adding more colors in the future. They've also added a colorblind setting, which now filters it to, you know, appropriate to your colorblindness. So, for example, if you're a Detrinope, I butchered that. I just only know these from Fortnite from back in the day, I'm not gonna lie. But now it adjusts the settings correctly to where it's better to see. And overall, I've played about with it. I think it'll be cool. It's decent. It makes like the barbed wire and laser gates and your reinforcements all look different. I think it's pretty cool. It's a very cool change to see. I like more customization. And you know, ultimately, it's nice. I can't diss it. It's S tier. I think more accessibility, the better. So, more or less, please. I think it's nice. But moving on from that, pistol FOV change. Now, the FOV on the pistol is really interesting. So, they've zoomed it out a lot more. So, the visual recoil goes down a lot less. And what I've noticed is it makes full auto pistols that before were kind of impossible to control, quite easy to control. So, a good example would be the Reaper MK2, which I was talking about previously with Maverick. It's actually really easy to control. Not because the recoil is easier or anything like that, not like the recoil got buffed, but because ultimately you can see what you're shooting at, you have more control and you have more peripheral vision. My fear was it was going to mess up some of the iron sights on some guns, and it kind of has a little bit in the P12, the German pistol. It's hard to see what you're aiming at times, but overall, I ran a bit with Thatcher's pistol for a bit, and that felt incredible to look at. So ultimately, across the board, I think a little bit of tweaking here and there, maybe make some iron sights bigger, some a little bit smaller, and it would be good. But overall, I think this is really good change. I genuinely never thought about it as well. This is what I like. When I see a change I like, but I never thought about it in my head. I'm like, wow, this is interesting. This is really good. I like this. But overall, it will take some comfortability to get used to, because originally wasn't a big fan of it. But now the more and more I've sat, thought about it, played with it, and gotten used to it a little bit, it's a really good change. Really nice to see. But finally, in and off, in the top S tier, Thatcher rework. This is how you do reworks correctly. Thatcher retains the exact same power you had, but more. That's what I feel they've missed the mark on some, reworks recently. Apart from Blackbeard was just like, put him on steroids, just give him, like, I still don't believe, off complete topic, what was the thought process? Why would you nerf all shields and then make Blackbeard the best shield of all time? It just never in a million years made sense to me. Like, I genuinely believe that there's some sort of like conspiracy theory against the player base of Siege, that they just hate people that don't play shields, and they thought, fuck it, we're gonna make Blackbeard the shield and we're gonna make him absolutely fucking broken. We're just gonna let him hornswoggle the entire defending team. It just didn't make sense to me. But ultimately, the Thatcher rework, back on topic, is really good. If you know what it is, it has the EMP cannon. It shoots out a beam that goes through walls, but you can also see that what electronics you're looking at beforehand. Well, not what electronics you're looking at, but you can see that you're looking at electronics beforehand, which should hopefully be very good to play with. And from what I've seen online, there's a lot of more counterplay to it. It's a lot more an interactive gadget, and I think the more interactive gadgets, the better. I think what it's good for is, for example, what I seen from Titanium Rolo on Twitter was, if somebody C4s you from below, you can hold out the scanner, or hold out the cannon, and it's got a scanner on the side of it, and it can show you where the electronics are, and you can, wait for a C4 to come through after you, realize there's a guy below, and then just quickly spray it off. So your teammates planting, you can time it perfectly to explode or EMP the explosive, and you get the bomb down. So ultimately, there's a lot more counterplay to it. My only worry is Thatcher was kind of brought along as a lazy counter to bandit tricking, but sometimes you do need a lazy counter. For example, on the projector wall in Pro League, inside of layer, Thatcher was often brought along because he was the best at dealing with bandit trickers or K trickers, because you could spam them simultaneously and it would get the whole wall each time. But now Thatcher, the range only gets one wall, and it isn't that consistent on like spamming, because you need to reload it, and it doesn't make him worse than an operator. Overall, he's a better operator now, because before he was only used for one case scenario where you could open the wall easier, but now Thatcher serves multiple purposes. So he's not just this operator that helps open the wall, he's this operator that helps open the wall and then goes and helps your team attack by getting rid of them, like Maestro, Evil Eyes, the Melusies. I think ultimately we're going to see a lot of his power used in Cafe, especially inside of Pro League. You should definitely watch out for that, because what's good about him is that you can drone out where the electronics are, you ping them, and then you can fire the cannon through the wall and get them before they need to, interact with them, before your teammates need to interact with them, which I think is going to be really good for Thatcher, or not really for attacking as a whole. It makes a lot of defender sided maps a lot less defender sided, but ultimately it's just about taking Thatcher's power and putting it elsewhere in his kit, and that's what's done as well by giving him that DMR, because his weaponry, the L8, don't get me wrong, is a really good gun, and the AR-33 is a really good gun as well. And so is the shotgun as well. Fuck, the shotgun's incredible as well in attack. That's a little sleeper pick for you. But ultimately, just giving them more firepower, why not? It's still that same level of brokenness across all guns, it's just that they all fit different scenarios. Like the AR-33 is good because it has a high rate of fire, but L8 is a good middle ground, and the shotgun is there for that close range on rushes, for example. But then you've got that DMR, which has the range and the capability of flexibility by opening hatches that are soft, and ultimately just opening up LOS with the high destructibility of the gun. So overall, I think year 10 season 4 is a success, and if we can get more updates like this going into year 11, the game's in a really bad state right now. It's really demoralizing to play the game right now, especially with the anti-cheat, and also anti-cheat changes. They're promising a lot more. That's always going to be S tier. Just keep chucking away at it, try to get rid of as many cheaters as possible. Overall, I think the whole season looks promising. If we can keep going like this in the future, we can maybe see a little revival of Siege. I never think we'll get to the same levels and heights that we were at when Jinxie first blew up, but I think we can scrape it. We can scrape it. But anyway, what do you think? Tell me what your favourite change is. Tell me if I forgot anything, because I definitely have. I always forget something, even though I'm sat with the patch notes right in front of me as I'm recording this. But ultimately, I think that my favourite change would probably be, oh, it's an interesting actually. Yeah, my favourite would probably be the ace, because I think that ace thing's going to be broken. But I can't justify myself to put it in S tier, just because I think there's a scenario where it isn't as broken as we all think it's going to be. But overall, good changes. I like to see it all, and I won't annoy you or waste any more of your time. I love yous and leave yous. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.